Hi, in this video we will see how to set up two SSH connection in two different GitHub accounts. Right now if I see the SSH key, so both the account has no key right now. We can follow this generating new SSH key. Yeah, so to generate it says we can use this command. So I can paste this command. So it will generate a new key and save in this location, but I don't want to name the file as id_ed this. So instead I will say this is the key for Jajodia Tushar account. Passphrase empty. So key should be generated. If I do ls, so yeah, this is the private key and this is the public key. So I can do pp copy .ssh .public, and then I can go into this new SSH key. I can say title anything work and then add this SSH key. Let's desktop is empty. Let's create one directory. This is empty, so let's try to clone it. It would fail because we didn't add the key in our agent. That's correct. SSH add -l. There is no identity, so let's add a new one. SSH add .ssh. So this is the private key. I need to add this private key. So this is added. Now if I see, there is just one key. Now if I do git clone, yeah, it will work as expected. It says you have cloned an empty repository, but yeah, cloning was possible. So I am able to access this account. Now let's go and try to access this account. Let's add a new SSH key. Let's try to add that same key that we generated previously. Okay, so this is my account. Let's see, GitHub complaints key is already in use, so we cannot add this key. We need to generate a new set of key and then we can use. So let's copy that command again. SSH keychain. Now this time I will say SSH/tjajodia. Yeah, let's go back to the repository, repo2, this. Now I also need to add this key in the SSH. Add .ssh. This is the private key, so we need to add the private key in the agent. This is added. Now if I just list, I have two keys, one private key and one public key. Now let's go back in the desktop. Right now we have just one folder. Let's create one more folder for tjajodia. Let's go inside this and try to clone this repo. See, it still says we do not have permission, although we have the key, we have this key, and the public key is also added in this account, but still it doesn't allow us to clone the repo. So the reason is because SSH agent is always going to use this key, the first key, to access GitHub, because that's the default configuration. If we just delete this key and if there is just this one key, then our access to tjzzodia would also work, but we want to store both the keys. So what we can do is, if you scroll, if you go back, if you say add a new SSH key, not this, yeah, so there is something called as SSH config. So we can have two different configurations. Let's first create this config file. So let's create this file. Okay, and then what we can say is, so see, this host is the local alias. There is one more parameter called host name, that is the actual host name. So what we can say is, let's open this file. So what we can say is, let's use this. So this is my local alias. I can name it anything, ABCDEFG, anything. So what I will say is, let's add a comment. So following configuration is, let's say for Jazzodia Tushar account. So I'll say GitHub Jazzodia Tushar. I can name it anything. And there is another parameter called host name. This should be github.com, or else it won't be able to connect to GitHub. And then there is one more parameter we need to add, user git. So now we are saying, create a local alias github.github-jazzodia.tushar.com. Anyone trying to connect to this thing, use the identity file. Okay, I need to update the identity file to use my, so I'm saying use this identity file whenever someone is trying to connect to this one, and the real host is github.com. I'm also saying add keys to the agent, so it will automatically add those keys, the key that we added using SSH add command. So it will automatically add this key to the SSH agent as well. So one configuration is ready. Let's just duplicate this for other account. So you can, this is local alias, so you can make it anything, ABCD, and anything you like. So GitHub this thing, and for this we need to say use tjzzodia. Yeah, so use tjzzodia identity file. So simple configuration for Jazzodia Tushar, configuration for tjzzodia. We will save this file. Now we need to do one more thing, that is, yeah, if we open this file .git config, so see, this is the URL. So we are saying, instead of github.com, we will say GitHub Jazzodia-tushar.com. We'll say Jazzodia-tushar.com. So this was the alias that we created, right? So whenever we try to access, it says URL is GitHub github-jazzodia-tushar.com. So it will look into that config that we recently created. Let's save this. Let's try to create a file. Let's try to push bad configuration option host name. Okay, let's just open this file again. Okay. This was the error. It should work now. So we are able to push into this. Now if I go back to this repo, I need to clone this yeah, so I need to clone this, git clone. So instead of GitHub, we will say GitHub just right here. Yeah, so cd repo 2. Okay, here also let's try readme.md. These are just warnings we can set the global this thing. So we were able to push. So if you see this repo, let's refresh. Yeah, we have the readme file, and if we refresh it here as well, here also we have a readme file. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.